Yo guys, what is up? Max in our first Descendant video, and today we're going to be going over a guide on how to fight and kill Deathstalker. Now, Deathstalker is the newest, hardest boss in the game. With this update, they added Deathstalker, but they also nerfed Gluttony. We're going to be going over best loadouts, strategies, mechanics, and everything else you need to know. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's get right into it. So I'm just going to walk you through a little bit of a recording. It's on a Twitch VOD, so it's not the greatest quality, but there's a few things to talk about with Deathstalker. So first off, Deathstalker will dot you with some pretty high poison damage. But the other thing that Deathstalker will do is when the boss hits you, you'll see it pop up on the left side. They'll pop a debuff on you that reduces your HP. I don't know the exact amount, but it seems to net out when you have 4 stacks at around 50% less HP. And this is a straight, like, loss of your HP. So if you have, like, 20,000 HP, all of a sudden, if you've gotten hit by the boss a few times, all of a sudden your max HP becomes 10,000. So even if you bring in a pretty tanky character, the boss can still reduce you down and then one-shot you. For this reason, I was playing a full shield Enzo build, and they just buffed Overwhelming Shield, which is now 26% of your max health. You can build full shield with cooldown and like a lot of conservation. I'll probably have a build guide out for my Enzo, but basically I was sitting with a ton of shield with low cooldowns, and you can tank a lot of the damage. The boss has a few weak spots. Its biggest, easiest weak point to shoot at the start are its feet. These little like blue things here. You cannot, to my knowledge, you cannot grapple onto these. The boss does have a weak spot on its very back, kind of like on its neck area, where there's a cover that you have to shoot off. And then once you shoot off that cover, you can mount the boss. And then obviously when you're mounting a boss, you can prevent it from enraging. So if you're trying to speed kill it, you're going to want to be shooting at its back. But just as the fight goes, it's got these attacks that it'll constantly do. The rings you can just outrange. You can also just jump straight over them. It does help a ton to like just be kind of at a decent distance when you're fighting the boss. I'm just gonna let this kind of play out. But being at a decent distance, the rings will eventually phase out. The other thing that the boss will do is it'll shoot out these skulls. The skulls will track you down. You can shoot them with your guns to break them. They will also inflict the debuff. As you can see, I've got 2 stacks of the debuff here. I'm not using any health, so me getting debuffed with it doesn't actually affect me. I strongly recommend Eugens, Ajaxes, and Enzos for this fight. Are all bringing a ton of quality of life, and just using an Enduring Legacy seemed like a pretty fast way to melt the boss down. But this boss has 2 big mechanics. If you get it down fast enough, as you can see, I go down there, quick little Eugen heal. If you get the boss down fast enough, you won't have to deal with its like a wipe mechanic until technically its second phase. But as you can see, it goes immune here. Now, when the boss goes immune, it's going to spawn multiple pillars around the arena. These pillars have kind of a face on them, and the face that you're going to be looking for is the face that is covering its eyes. It'll have little hands on it. I got some teammates dying over here, but this one right here, that's got the like hands over its eyes, you can always walk into that one safely. It won't damage you. And then your goal, once you're in the boss's immune phase, is to stand in the ring. So as you can see, the ring's got kind of like this like text around it almost, and you can also see it via the bar in the middle. You're trying just to stay in this long enough that you can get rid of the boss's immune phase. It will spawn a bunch of damage on you. This does not look like a very clean run. We got the rundown to be pretty clean, but we stood in that long enough that basically the circle fills, and then once the circle fills, the boss becomes unimmune. So it's basically just standing in it. The boss will do a bunch of attacks that can do a lot of damage to you while you're standing in it, and obviously you're pretty stationary. So that's kind of one of the hard parts. That's why bringing like an Enzo, an Ajax, or a Eugen can be pretty nice. I'll kind of try to grab another section of gameplay to show you a strategy that you can use to take less damage in it. But once the boss is unimmune, now you can see its second mechanic. So the second mechanic that's happening right now is it's going to spawn clocks. And these clocks will count down. And if you do not step in all of the clock circles and prevent them from ticking down, you will just get wiped. So as you can see, there's a clock here. It's at the very start of it, so we've got plenty of time. It spawns 6 clocks, to my knowledge, and you're going to want to just have everyone jumping on them. You don't need to jump on them as a team. They break down pretty quickly, and also, if you do go into them, you'll see that I have 4 stacks of the debuff here. The clock circle is going to fill, and then once that clock pops, you lose your debuff. So if you are getting a bunch of debuff and need to get rid of it, you can go stand in the clock circles. You do have a decent bit of time, but if obviously you have teammates going down in this, it can get a little dicey. But as you can see, just going to be jumping into all of the circles while shooting at the boss. Grabbing the last clock. This one was really close. I think we got this clock just in the nick of time. Yeah, that would have wiped us if we hadn't gotten it. And then once you do the clock and the like face mechanics, typically if you got enough damage, you should be fine to just get the kill. I think we got into another phase here. Yeah, so here we it did another phase. Maybe I can get some better footage of this. But as you can see, that is a open face. Because I didn't have any boss stacks, it did damage me. It didn't kill me. Here, I'll show. I'll like kind of rewind this. But you do not want to run into the open phases. I was still learning the mechanics here. Look at my shield right now, and then as soon as I go into the circle, I just lost like 10,000 plus shield. So do not run into the ones with the open faces. That is not what you need to do. The one with the closed hands will always allow you to charge them up without ever taking damage, walking into them. And then the big thing here that I wanted to show off is that you'll get selected for these green beams. Basically, I think it happens to me here. Right here. So I've been selected for this green beam. That means it's kind of like the mechanic that you fight on the Greg boss, where he calls down the mortar strikes and you want to roll out at the last second. A really nice strategy here. I don't know if I do it or not, but a nice strategy is if you do get selected to get out of the circle and roll away, because obviously your teammates are going to want to be in the circle. And if you've got a bunch of people all putting on green circles in the circle, then you're going to make it easier for you to team kill, basically. So right there, bad example. I should have kind of gotten that explosion to go out of the circle. Would have made my life easier for my teammates. And here we're just going to stand in it and you're just trying to survive. You can't actually deal any damage to the boss. We're just trying to survive, shooting the skulls. There's the green circle. I rolled onto my teammates to put it on them. Not what you want to be doing, but that is a strategy, is pull the green away. And here we got the kill. Took us a bit of time. I think this was our first ever clear, so we were still trying to learning all the mechanics. But that is the Deathstalker. This was an example, it's a little bit blurry, but you can see that my teammate is on Deathstalker. We basically went and shot the back first so that we broke the capsule, and then you can shoot out a bunch of damage without enraging it. Here you can see we've got it at less than half HP in less than 40 seconds. This clear didn't go the most smoothly, but you can get the ride to not enrage and then just down the boss once you break the back attachment to pump a ton of damage. This was we've got it like 3/4 of health at basically a minute, which is really, really nice. I was just playing Haley for some extra DPS with the Enduring Legacy because Haley pumps gun damage. For the build, I would recommend rocking something like this. You obviously don't need health on this boss because it's going to delete your health anyways. So a full shield Enzo with the 3 ability so you can constantly heal your shields is really nice. I would rock 2 HP mods with Overwhelming Shield, which gives you a percentage of your HP as extra shield. Throw on an extra shield mod. You could rock another shield mod. I didn't have this fully optimized. And then a bunch of cooldown and maximize conservation, so you can always use the 3rd ability. This is super, super nice for tanking the boss. Throw on a shot focus for some extra damage, and then perfect anti-venom so that you can't be poisoned. I didn't have this on in my actual gameplay, but this would have been really, really nice. And then you want to stack up as much HP as possible. I don't have that currently on, but if you stack up as much HP as possible, you can get to a lot of shield, which is really, really nice. Let's throw on just some HP things to show you. There's HP. And then we're at like 16,000 shield, pretty easy, and still have room for more shield mods. Guys, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. Deathstalker, I think, is a better constructed boss fight than Gluttony. I think, like, in terms of just kind of like boss and mechanics, I definitely prefer Deathstalker to Gluttony. It's a little bit easier to read and easier to like coordinate with your team. This boss is another example of the devs kind of just like, without hard nerfing things, allowing us to change the meta or change the meta based off of like what the content they're throwing is. So like obviously shields have not been meta for a really long time or ever, but now they're giving us a boss that just reduces your max health. You go in with 18,000 health, you're going to be sitting at around 900 health. And so building shields is really, really helpful for Deathstalker. That's why characters like Enzo really excel. Eugens, Ajaxes, keeping your team topped up if they are on health Descendants. And this boss you can do with skills, but they move around pretty quickly and they do a lot of damage. So it's pretty easy to get burned if you're on like Lepic or Haley. They move around quite a bit if you're trying to nuke them with like Kyle. I think this boss is challenging, but not like frustrating. And that's why I think it's actually a pretty cool boss fight. That's going to do it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I will catch you on the next one. Take care. Peace.